Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today we're talking about Apple because they're about to encrypt iCloud. But is it really secure? And that's what we're talking about. Now, this is coming from CNBC, and I think this opens up a whole lot of questions given Apple's past. But here's what's going on. Apple announced today that they are making plans to allow users to encrypt additional kinds of iCloud data on their server, including full backups, photos, and notes. Now, this feature called Advanced Data Protection will prevent Apple from seeing the contents of some of the most sensitive user data stored on its servers, and will make it impossible for Apple to provide content of encrypted backups to law enforcement. That is according to CNBC. I question that premise, and we will get to that. Now, on top of this, according to CNBC, encrypted backups will be opt-in, meaning you've got to do it yourself. That's according to Apple. It's going to be available in the US only at the moment before the end of the year, before I'm guessing they roll that out globally, but obviously various countries have various laws on these kinds of things. Now, while Apple has previously encrypted a lot of data stores on its servers, entire drive backups or device backups that included text messages, contacts, and other important data were not end-to-end encrypted, and Apple previously had access to contents of backups. Now, I'm questioning all of this, so take it with a grain of salt, but here's what's going on according, again, to CNBC. Now, the move will basically please security advocates somewhat. I'm saying somewhat, many of whom previously pointed to unencrypted iCloud backups as a weak link in Apple's privacy policy. And I do think this is a good beginning, but like I said, I've got questions. It also means, though, that data content from users would not be exposed if Apple servers were ever breached. Obviously, that's a good thing as well. I would want my data encrypted wherever I'm using it, but I don't use free services specifically because of these kinds of issues. Now, this could also upset law enforcement, which has basically used Apple's policy of not encrypting backups as a way to obtain materials in investigations. Even though iMessage has been encrypted on devices, it hasn't been in iCloud. Obviously, Apple, if you recall, famously fought the FBI with the San Bernardino shooter to unlock the iPhone, and at that time, Apple said, well, there's unencrypted iCloud backups that they can get access to, but that phone hadn't been syncing for months. The FBI wanted it, and they refused, meaning Apple, to break their own encryption, which I did applaud them for and wrote an article on that back in, I want to say it's 2016, for an old publisher. So, I have a million questions here. That is what's going on according to CNBC. That's what pretty much everybody is reporting, but they had a very concise write-up on this. So let's get to these questions. Is this encryption really end-to-end? Who owns the keys of the encryption store in iCloud? If Apple actually is generating these and owning these, then they can just decrypt all of this when they want to or when law enforcement asks or submits a warrant. What about the scanning technology when you upload pictures and videos that was supposed to check for illegal child exploitation content? They were going to look at basically hashing of files and all of that to say, oh, this is a known child exploitive picture, video, whatever it is, and then flag that account. Are they not going to do that anymore? I know they were talk about scrapping it and they had put it on hold and all those kinds of things, but the plan was eventually to roll that out. If this is fully encrypted, here we are. Is everything being checked before it goes into that encrypted container? And what if they do find a child predator uploading content? Do they now not have access or any way to alert law enforcement? This goes back to that automated scanning technology as well. These are questions that seriously need to be answered for this. If it's true end-to-end encryption, nobody has access except the user. The user's the only one that has access to the keys to unlock it, meaning Apple has zero capability. But before you put something into an encrypted container, if they're scanning it, copying it, checking it, that's a huge problem. On top of that, do they have any kind of artificial intelligence that is looking at these things before they're uploaded to iCloud in general? So, for example, WhatsApp, Facebook-owned or Meta-owned WhatsApp claims privacy, but the artificial intelligence reads all of the messages before you send it, and once it's received, they read it as well. The AI does. They even have humans that go in and check what the AI is doing for training purposes. I've done videos, podcasts, talked about that on my radio show. This is a huge thing. On top of this, what about the issues that cybersecurity researchers have found that show Apple is getting telemetry from their devices even after users basically turn off iCloud syncing? I literally just did something on this like a week or two ago on this, where even if you have iCloud off, it's still sending information and everything back to Apple. Are they going to fix that on top of this, or is this now encrypted and they can't see this? I'm sorry, but while I think this is a good step, I really do. I'm a fan of encryption. end to end, the user has everything, even though that could mean that people that makes it harder for law enforcement to get into, let's say, potential criminals and all of that. We don't make laws to the lowest common denominator, or at least we shouldn't. Apple has way too many questions here before I actually believe that this is really end to end. That I actually believe that Apple is saying, "Oh my God, it's so hardened that like let's say the police incorrectly target me for something, and my stuff's in iCloud, that they don't have some kind of way to unlock this." There have been too many flaws in privacy and security with these free platforms. I don't care if it's Apple or Google or take your pick. You've got to take this with a grain of salt. So while this is a good step, and Apple loves to claim that they're private and they are going to make hay out of this, answer my questions. Answer my questions first, and then we'll see what really happens, because then they're putting it to paper. Then they can be legally sued when they fail to live up to those claims. And I think that is something that is going to be super important. So we'll see where this goes. We'll see what the fine print is. But right now, I'm not trusting Apple's encryption, but I do think it's a step in the right direction. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please attempt to stay private. Thanks, everybody.